biggest mistake. I married a monster. I married a ghoul. A two-headed stranger. Now I feel such a fool.
So, well, tell me about this record that you've done with Paul. First off, the Sensible Grays Cells. I know it's album number 2, and it came out just about a month ago. So, how's it been going since then? What's been the reaction?
Well, you know, it's the tracks that we recorded. A fair few of them were. I shouldn't say this really, but they were kind of damned rejects.
Right.
And yeah, and it doesn't mean to say that they're inferior quality tunes, though, because the thing about the Damned is I always say to Paul, they always reject the best bloody songs.
Oh, there you
I
go.
think they're not keen. When I say they, I'm talking about the esteemed singer. Yes. I don't think he's keen on melody.
Oh, really?
So anything with a strong tune, you know, gets put in the bin, and we use them for the Sensible Grey Cells. So that's why the album's it's full of cracking songs, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, like well, the first, and you have that kind of psychedelic '60s, late '60s thing going on in it. You know, which kind of reminds me of like early Pink Floyd and Chocolate Watch Band and stuff like that. So, is that stuff that you listened to back in the day?
Yes, you know, the great regret of my life is that I missed out on the groovy swinging '60s. You know, by only a few years. I was at school when the Summer of Love was happening in '67, and you know, I was going to school in short trousers and you know, and doing Pythagoras and nonsense like that. When I wanted to go to the groovy cellar and cavort with birds in mini skirts. And take mind-bending drugs. And by the time I'd, you know, learned to play guitar enough to join a band, you know, all that groovy scene had gone, and all anyone was interested in was like sort of, you know, blokes in, you know, leather jackets and clanking chains and stuff like that. You know, it was a completely different kettle of fish. Not that I got anything against punk. I mean, you know, it saved my bacon, to be quite honest. I don't know what I don't know what I'd be doing if I wasn't doing punk rock. But the truth of it is, I'm actually a bit of a psych kind of prog aficionado that somehow managed to sneak himself into a punk group. And so there you go. It's
yeah, because I mean the
truth is that
the considered wisdom is that punk was there to wipe out Pink Floyd and all those you know, proggy, moody blues and all that stuff. So there you go.
No. Well, there's 2 Pink Floyds, aren't there? There's the great, you know, innovative Syd Barrett Pink Floyd, where they were, you know, they're right at the cutting edge of creativity and, you know, making this new music. I mean, you have to really, you know, I mean, Elvis was only, you know, about 7 years before that. So, you know, Syd Barrett changed everything. He was making all these crazy noises with the guitar, you know. Yeah, it was brilliant. And then you know, then he kind of lost his marbles, and Pink Floyd ended up doing a completely different style of music, which I disparagingly refer to as estate agent music. No disrespect to the estate agents. If you want to buy a Sensible Grey Cells album, it's in the shops now.
Very good. Yeah, the track Get Back Into Your World, that reminded me specifically of kind of Arnold Lane and all that stuff.
But it's a chore, just another boring thing to do. Get back into the world, there's much better things to do. So throw it all out and get back into the world.
Is that and also, were you familiar with Dukes of Stratosphere and XTC and that happening in the 80s, those guys?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Andy Partridge is you know, a fellow psych pop aficionado. I remember a very interesting he's got a shed in his back garden with a recording studio, and he got very drunk one night, and he entertained us by playing us all the Beatles bits where we're all wearing headphones listening to. He said this is where Ringo's cigarette packet falls off the floor, Tom, and you can hear George Harrison giggling here in the back doing the backing vocals. He knows all those little bits. And the tragic thing is that nowadays none of those little mistakes or all those rough edges would end up on a record, because they clean everything up to the nth degree these days.
Yeah.
It's all a bit sad, really. I think rock and roll should have a few warts and kind of rough edges left on. Otherwise it's not rock and bloody roll, is it?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So speaking of rough edges, I've heard that the Damned are back together, the original band, doing some shows. What's that all about?
I got a feeling inside of me. It's kind of strange, like a story scene. I don't know why. I guess these things have gotta be. I've got a new rose, I've got a good. Yes, I knew that I always would. I can't stop to mess around. I got a brand new rose in town.
Well, it's obviously a cash-in, we need the dosh. No, I mean, partly that, of course. Hopefully they'll bring live music back at some point. But it's also because none of us are getting any younger.
Yep.
And we really should do it before one of us kicks the bucket, really.
I agree.
Because it was a great noise that we made. What I remember is very, very powerful. Standing there on stage with the other three members of the Damned. It's not the most beautiful noise in the world, but it kicks a considerable amount of butt.
That's for sure. I was just the right age when those records came out. I was buying them left, right, and center. It was fantastic. So, yeah, excellent. And I know you have some dates in London, but if there is no live music in London, consider coming down here. We got plenty of it happening here.
I'd love to, yeah, if they're still letting people fly. I mean, I know the airline companies are hurting at the moment. Well, everyone's hurting at the moment,
Yeah.
Who can say what the world will look like in 6 months' time, even? I can only speak for what I do, and it seems very apparent that live music is under particular attack by governments all around the world. They don't seem to like that sort of thing. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but I hope it does come back. But there you go.
Yeah, I'm sure it has to. So the original four guys, have you guys gotten together and talked about what you're going to do, or are you just going to wing it?
We did, yeah. We got back together the first time. We've had a couple of meetings. The first time it was a bit, the atmosphere was a bit serious. Everyone was waiting. I think everyone was waiting for the first punch to get swung in their direction. I mean, I was on full alert. For someone to belt me around the ear hole, and they would have got a bloody good kicking back. I mean, that's the thing. About these gigs. I think it's fairly exciting musically, and also to see whether it all implodes or not, because there's a lot of historical animosity going on there, and hatchets that are only kind of buried just under the surface, I suppose.
Oh man. I mean, it's been a while though. You gotta kind of get along nowadays, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it adds a bit of spice to it, doesn't it?
Definitely. I can't wait. I mean,
I'd love to bring it down to Australia and New Zealand. Yeah, I'd love to. I really enjoy playing down there anyway. It's
Yep.
blooming good fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Sensible Grey thing, are you going to do some live stuff there?
Yeah, if there's any demand at all for it, we'll take it out on the road. So yeah, maybe a couple of gigs to see if anyone likes it. Because I mean, I'm a realist, and I mean, we're old farts, and there's lots of newfangled styles of music out there nowadays, and most of it's shit though. But I have to say that it's unlistenable, isn't it? I mean, I go into a supermarket these days and I run out screaming because they're playing this absolute garbage with this bloody strangled cat effect on every vocal, and it's just horrible. I don't know what kind of music they call it, but it's just, I don't. They're not making it for the likes of me, though, are they? I suppose. Do you know what? I always said I'd never be that old bastard who complained about youngsters' music, But they forced me. They forced me into it by making the worst bloody music known to mankind. It's just, how did it go from Jimi Hendrix and the Stranglers and the Sex Pistols, and then through the glorious 80s? How did it get to this diabolical crap? Unbelievable.
Well, we'll have to leave you with that question and hanging in the air as my next interview is about to start. But thanks for tuning in, and I really, really hope that you bring the show down here because we need to see it. People will go ballistic for it down here.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you very much for the seal of approval.
Thank you.
Cheers.
See ya. Bye-bye.
See you later. Cheers. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.